Tracking, alerting, protecting. This is WKYT News at 5.
Showers and thunderstorms have been moving across the Commonwealth today, some on the strong side, and they're not finished just yet. We're tracking them on this first alert severe weather day.
2 people are found dead in a burned home. We're tracking the investigation into what happened.
A month to go, and the race for the U.S. Senate apparently takes a turn. The new WKYT Herald Leader poll finds a shift in who's in the lead.
WKYT News at 5 starts now. Now we have some showers and storms making their way across Kentucky this afternoon.
There is a chance that some of them could be strong to severe. We begin with meteorologist Jim Caldwell on this WKYT First Alert Severe Weather Day.
And the primary concern that we're running into with a lot of these thunderstorms has been the hail that has been falling from a lot of these. Earlier reports of ping pong ball sized hail, then you've got quarter sized hail. So we're talking about that severe weather level needed to spark some of these warnings. And then you factor in the winds. Right now, we're tracking a few severe thunderstorm warnings just to our south of Lexington, just down the road into Richmond. There you see a very intense thunderstorm that continues, and the warning is set to expire at around 5:10. Better than 40,000 people included in on that warning. And I suspect we'll likely see quite a bit of hail on the ground after that thunderstorm is finished rolling through the area. Another warning out to our east that includes a whole slew of counties from Bath County to Wolfe County. You've got a big chunk of the area covered up with that warning as well. Again, the primary threats, we're talking about winds up to 60 miles per hour and also the possibility of that large hail. And again, the hail has been kind of the big deal so far this evening. More thunderstorms firing up out to our west. This will continue working its way toward us as we get into the latter part of the day. That's something we're tracking on Defender, and we will continue to watch for that potential a little bit later, guys. I'll have much more coming up.
Jim, thank you. 2 people have been found dead inside a burned home, but investigators aren't saying much else about the case.
The house is on Grays Run Pike off US 62, just outside of Cynthiana. Police, fire investigators, and the coroner have all been there since this morning trying to figure out exactly what happened. WKYT's Mike Linden is live at the scene tracking the case in our top story at 5. Mike?
Much quieter outside now than it has been for the past several hours. This front lawn here was covered earlier this afternoon with people as well as cars, and as you can see behind me here, the house is a total loss. That's according to state officials. Now, according to the Harrison County coroner, 2 adults were found dead inside the house behind me here on Grays Run Pike in Cynthiana. The coroner confirmed 1 man and another adult were found near the front of the home, which is where firefighters believe the fire began. That's near the living room and the kitchen area of the home. The coroner also says that 2 children that live in the house were at school at the time of the fire and are staying with family members as of this afternoon. State police are also investigating a truck parked down the street that was towed earlier this morning, but cannot confirm if it's related to the fire.
Apparently the fire was so hot it took them a little bit to get the fire calmed down to where they get it knocked down to where they could determine that there were individuals inside.
I just hope this community will definitely come together and help this family and these children at their time of need.
Now, as for how the fire started, investigators cannot rule out foul play at this time, and an arson investigator just left the scene just several minutes ago. Live in Harrison County, Mike Linden, WKYT.
Mike, thank you. We'll continue to follow the story tonight. According to the coroner, a dog and a cat could also be dead inside that home.
We are tracking the search for the person who robbed a Lexington bank this morning. Police say this man walked into the Whitaker Bank on West Lowry Lane, implied he had a weapon and demanded money. This is the 4th bank robbery in Lexington in less than a month. Police say they are taking that into consideration.
It's always on their mind anytime they've got a crime like this is, do we have somebody who's done this before? So once they get to the video and start to look into those things, they'll start to try to match those up to other robbers.
Police say a canine unit tracked the robber all the way to a parking lot near Nicholasville Road before losing his scent. Still no arrest in a deadly weekend home invasion. Police say 2 men broke into a home on Addy Alley Sunday morning and killed Darnell Bates. Bates worked at Goo Goo Car Wash on North Limestone for the past 5 years and was recently promoted to general manager. His co-workers want to know who killed him.
We just want to be brought to justice. You know, he really didn't deserve it. She was a great person, brightened up the room every time he came in. It's a horrible tragedy.
Bates' co-workers have started a fund to help his family pay for his funeral costs. So far, they've been able to raise $250.
The Fayette County School Board meeting this afternoon to discuss the results of a state audit of the district. The auditor released the findings last month, saying he had concerns about financial mismanagement, salary increases, and administrators and communication within the district. As WKYT's Jordan Valline shows us, today's meeting focused on solving those problems. The story is new at 5.
This afternoon, Fayette County School Board members met here at the central office in order to address the issues that were outlined in the scathing estate audit from last month. During the meeting, board members discussed each of the 10 findings, the related recommendations for those findings, and the progress made so far on improving those issues.
How do we, correct working relationships? How do we improve the flow of information? How do we improve communication?
Much of the meeting was spent discussing a salary analysis prepared by the superintendent, explaining the changes made to employees' pay in the past 5 years. The superintendent says the state auditor inaccurately concluded that administrative and management salary outpace other district employees.
That wasn't true, that raises have been consistent for all staff. We explained that you have to look at position by position in the school system as to what someone's education level and their experience level is to determine how their salary is calculated, because that's what our whole salary schedule is based on.
The superintendent says that they're currently working to address these issues on a daily basis, and they will have frequent meetings in the future. In Lexington, Jordan Valines, WKYT.
The superintendent is working with a management advisory group to do an analysis of classified salaries for hourly employees. They hope to have that study finished and presented by early November.
On the campaign trail today, all the talk was about the new WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll. It finds Secretary of State Allison Lundergan Grimes leading the race with Senator Mitch McConnell. She now leads the race by 2 percentage points. It's Grimes at 46%, McConnell 44%, and Libertarian David Patterson a distant third. WKYT's Bill Bryant is here now with the first results from our WKYT Herald Leader Bluegrass poll.
Good evening. If these numbers bear out, it would be a major shift for the campaigns with just a month to go before Election Day. Already one of the most closely watched races in the country. The battle between Senator Mitch McConnell and Allison Lundergan Grimes appears it will go down to the wire. There is no doubt you've probably seen a lot of those campaign spots. The ads started airing over a year before the election. And because they only agreed to debate the issues once, that won't happen until next week. Those campaign commercials, no doubt, help define what voters think. The Bluegrass poll finds voters still remain skeptical about both Grimes and McConnell. A third told us that she has done a good job of explaining her positions. A third says she's done a fair job. 27% said she's done a bad job. As far as Senator McConnell, the most, 34% said he's done a bad job of getting his message out. 32% say he's done a fair job, while 30% say he's done a good job getting his word out. Earlier today, I talked with Herald Leader political reporter Sam Youngman about these new results and the apparent shift toward Grimes.
This close to an election, it's hard to distinguish between what we call noise in the data and what are actual findings. Now, this, like you said, this does match up with what Allison Lundergan Grimes has found, which is a 2-point lead for her. But it's in stark contrast to what we've seen in every other public poll that's been released.
Survey USA conducted the Bluegrass poll for WKYT, the Herald Leader, and our two partners in Louisville. Bill Bryant, WKYT.
You can get a more in-depth look at the poll. Just look for the Bluegrass poll story on WKYT.com. Well, it was a big weekend for those Wildcats.
Many of us are catching up on our sleep. Still, UK upsetting South Carolina in a great game at Commonwealth Stadium. Major rally toward the end of the game. Coach Mark Stoops talked about the victory today and what's ahead for that team. WKYT's Brian Milam's here with our Big Blue coverage. One of the best I've seen in years, Brian.
Yeah, it was. Here it is 2 days later, and I think it's safe to say this Monday feels a lot better. Starting your work week knowing the Cats' stunning rally to beat South Carolina, it came true. It was just wild. It was a prime example of what Mark Stoops promised when he got to Kentucky, and it was a signature win for the Cats program. A 14-point fourth-quarter rally against the Gamecocks. This team has come a long way in a short amount of time.
Extremely proud of them. I've said that, again after the game, and still feel that way. Feel so proud of the effort and the toughness and the resolve of this team. And you know, that says a lot about what we're doing. But with that being said, there's just so much more to improve on.
A wild scene, and everybody still has smiles on their faces. With a win this coming Saturday against Louisiana Monroe, UK would have a 5-1 record and 1 win from bowl eligibility. Mark Stoops had a great deal to talk about today at his press conference, and we will have much more coming up a little bit later in sports.
Thank you, Brian. And after facing ULM this weekend, the Cats will travel to Baton Rouge to play LSU. That game kicking off at 7:30 on the 18th. The game this Saturday at Commonwealth kicking off at noon.